Keller Williams. You make dreams come true. Home sweet home. Oh, home sweet home.
You're listening to Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and friends. And here's Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and friends. It's always a pleasure to introduce the agents as we grow. We're pushing 80 agents in our this is our third full calendar year, 2021, in the hopefully post land of COVID. But as always, I have Michael Maher on the phone with PrimeLending. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Russ. Happy to be here. I can't believe I was basically with you guys from almost the beginning when you had just a handful of agents, and now almost pushing 80. It's incredible. You guys have done an awesome job.
Yeah, we have a lot of great people. You know, there's an old saying, I think Gary Keller has a quote that he says, charisma can recruit people, but culture can keep people.
Absolutely.
And that abundant mindset, which we really all believe in, and that is that for us to succeed as individuals, other people don't have to fail. There is enough business for everyone to do well, even in a time where our inventory is drastically reduced and the demand seems to be increasing at an increasing rate. So, you know, you've been a big part of that and a big part of the show. We're at almost, I think this is our 81st show, so over 240 some segments later, we've been talking on the radio.
Yep. And people still aren't tired.
Yeah, they're still, we might be force feeding them. Who knows? They haven't kicked us, they haven't kicked me off yet, but the day's young. So anyway, Michael, what's going on in the world of finance and forbearance and interest rates? What can you tell me that maybe people could use this information now that we're thinking about what to do next?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think one thing that continues to come up, and, you know, for most people now, it seems like they're either still in forbearance or they've taken their home out of forbearance and are continuing to make the payments now. One important fact that I want people to note, and it's going to change from lender to lender, but the guidelines are pretty much across the board the same for every lender, whether you want to go and refinance or sell your home, purchase a new home, and maybe rent your old home out. If your home is still in forbearance, meaning you are no longer making your payment, but you're not collecting any interest or fees due to the federal regulations and the guidelines that were changed to help people who were affected by COVID, if you are still in forbearance, there's a good chance that you will not be able to refinance, or potentially you can always sell. So that's not something I want to say, but if you want to sell and then purchase a home after or during the process of your sale, you can run into some issues. And then if you want to rent your home out or keep your home or buy a second home, you can run into some issues. And that is that if your home is still in forbearance and you're not making those payments, there's actual rules that we have to go by as a lender that states you either have to have an agreement with the lender and be making those payments again, whether that be tacking the remainder or those payments that you missed onto the end of the loan, whatever it is, just an agreement, or you had to have made up those lost payments and made at least 3 payments on your own typically. And those can come in the form, again, of being on the modified loan that you've agreed upon with your lender, or if you just decide to, you know, lump sum it, catch it up, and then just start making the payments. So I just want people to note that if you're thinking about making any of those moves and you do know that your home is in forbearance, I've had quite a few people that want to do that, and then they go to try and take their loan out of forbearance, and it can take anywhere from 30 to 90 days, which can drastically hinder somebody from wanting to go and, you know, buy another home or do something, take advantage of interest rates at an all-time low. So, you know, while it's good that we have the option to put those in forbearance, if that's something you can get out of and you're comfortable with, then I would start the process now if you're needing to do something with your mortgage, because it's going to have to be done. And you want to make sure you get ahead of the curve before, you know, all of a sudden the lender is telling you, well, we need you to figure that out. And then whoever you're refinancing with or whoever your service provider is could take quite a long time because they're backed up to get your loan out of forbearance, if that makes sense.
One of the things that is your strength, Michael, at PrimeLending, you and Sharon both, is that you communicate really well with people. And I guess at the end of the day, if there was a simplistic approach or simple advice to give to everyone out there that's thinking about making some moves in real estate, that is to call you and talk it through. I mean, is that fair? They can just have a conversation with you about their situation or goals?
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah, and the earlier they do that, that's not offensive to you. You embrace that, correct?
Yep, exactly. And even if they ended up, just refinancing with who they're with because it's easier or whatever it is, just having the conversation we have an abundant mindset, like you said. There's plenty of business for everyone. So just to have a conversation to get some good advice. I've had many conversations that I didn't ended up working with, but then those people often refer their family just because that advice, you don't get that in a lot of places. So yeah, we pride ourselves on being able to just have those conversations, whether or not we end up working together.
Yeah, and I don't know who's all listening today to this show, but I can tell you this, that there's a lot of bad advice that's given to people in the land of lending. I don't think bad people necessarily, but just bad advice. And what we often see is people that might have one or two programs that they push at a lender or a bank or a mortgage company, but in reality, there's many programs. There's so many ways, especially in this post-land of COVID that we're coming out of, hopefully, that being creative isn't a bad word. You need to be creative, and you need to be surrounding yourself with people that are resourceful and creative also, that can talk to you from a very high degree of intelligence and professionalism in the industry. And I can attest personally to you, Michael and Sharon, that's one of the things you also pride yourself on is like, how do we look at this from a different angle and how do we help people?
Yeah, definitely.
One of the things we talk about is that there's a lot of people out there thinking, wow, to be a seller right now is a dream. And they want to sell and they can't believe how much their home is worth. I mean, we often tell people, you should call us and let us do a market analysis because you might just fall over when you figure out how much equity you have. I think we were up 17, 18% over the last 12 months, and it seems like it's climbing monthly with the increased demand, and our supply has dwindled to about 75% from a year ago, right? This time a year ago. So one of the things I think that we should talk about is being creative in the investment world. If you're willing to sacrifice a little bit, you could tap your equity, sell your home, and then use Michael and his enhancement loan or rehab loan and maybe go target something that's a little one-off. And here's my point. If, say, 85%, 90% of the people want a 3 to 4 bedroom home, that's going to have a severe increase in demand on those type of homes. Well, that kind of opens up these 1 and 2 bedroom homes that might be in a nice location. And with your enhancement loan, you can roll in a remodel or partial new construction onto an existing home, and all of a sudden they have instant equity again. If you're in the mindset of being an investor and sacrificing a little bit and really seizing the day, so to speak, would your loan be good for that, Mike?
Absolutely. Yeah, whether it's investment or something you're wanting to move into or a second home. We have about 18 to 20 different renovation loans or enhancement loans. And you can go as far as, you're just wanting to update the kitchen and maybe put a new roof on it, all the way to adding square footage or possibly a mother-in-law unit. So like you said, if maybe you find a home that's on a little bit of property and it's a 3-bed, 1-bath, and maybe it's only zone for a 3-bed septic and you want to put a 4th bed or whatever the case may be, you can stack all of that into the purchase price of the loan and then, get it all done before you even move into it. And like you said, capture that instant equity that you're building into the property, not paying top dollar for someone else's property, but building your own equity and, sacrificing a little bit up front. Maybe it takes a few months to get all the work done, but once it's all completed, you'll get the as-is completed report from the appraiser as if the work was already done when we close on the loan. And then on top of that, market appreciation and so on, you'll be sitting on quite a bit of equity, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's to me, it's like Warren Buffett said, buy when everybody else is selling and sell when everybody else is buying, and you'll do all right.
Yep.
All right, well, you can do the same thing. If everybody's looking for a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom home in town, maybe go out of town a little bit and buy a 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, add a bedroom or two, enhance the septic system, add a shop, and boom, you're back in the game with retail. So the idea is to buy wholesale and sell retail and make that money. And always consult your tax professional. That's never bad advice. And I've known people over the years that love to take advantage of that capital gains exemption, which is typically 2 years out of the last 5, and take advantage of that capital gains exemption. I think it's up to $500,000 as a married couple, or $250,000 as a single person. And just be creative and think outside the box. And that's what we like to teach and coach our real estate brokers how to do as well, especially when it's becoming very difficult to find affordable housing for the average person, right? And that's one of my major goals, is to always try to figure out a way to help people get into houses. There's one other thing I'd like to quickly talk about. Last week at our sales rally, you talked about recasting a loan. Could you briefly share with us what that is?
Yeah, recasting, not to be confused with refinancing, is basically when you get to keep your same terms, whether that be the interest rate, and it's a 30-year fixed interest rate, it's a 30-year loan, and you put a lump sum payment down on the principal balance. So you're paying the loan down. And then what the lender can do for you, every lender is going to be different, or every servicer might be different, but basically they re-amortize the loan, keeping everything the same, but then your payment actually ends up dropping because of the lump sum principal payment that you're making. So it's a really creative way that if you do fall into some money and you want to lower your payment, you get to keep your interest rate. The fees are significantly less. It takes anywhere from 30 to 60 days typically to get one done, and you can do it right with your service provider. So it's not like refinancing at all. It can be a very useful tool.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it very much. Until next week, have a great day.
It's a brand new day, just came my way. I bought a new home, yeah, home, sweet home, oh, home, sweet home.